runs in one inning. That can happen all the time. So I think, you don't want those runs scored on you. Pitch better. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. So I think it's unbelievable the backlash he got, but it's been very cool afterwards. A lot of guys have come out in support of him saying, yo, do your thing, Nando, do your thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm very much in that camp. So
yeah. When I first heard about this happening, and all right, so baseball and a lot of baseball purists, correct me if I'm wrong, they like to hold on to traditions, right? Like it's the tradition of baseball, the unwritten rules, and things of that of that nature. There are things that's been established when baseball has started in the late 1800s. So a lot of these unwritten rules are like very, very, very old. Correct?
Absolutely, they're rooted deep in tradition. As I think we've talked about off air before, people were actually upset when they started doing replay in baseball, right? Because they said that the umpire is part of the human element of the game. So you shouldn't be able to review home runs. You shouldn't be able to, review plays at first base or things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, but isn't it more important to get it right?
Right.
So I don't want to get away from your greater point, but yes, it's very deeply rooted in tradition and very deeply rooted in a lot of times, I think, just stubbornness.
Yes, and I get it. I get it. I get it. You want baseball to remain, I guess, as pure as possible. But it's freaking 2020, bro. Like you said, like the leads, they have given up bigger leads in the past, and you have an opportunity to bury your opponent. What team isn't going to take that opportunity? And I can't think of a sport where a team isn't going to take that opportunity to do so. You know what I'm saying? So him doing that, like, I applauded 100%. I hope he gets to do it again, honestly. Like, I hope it's another situation when they're up. I hope it's even more runs. I hope there are 10 runs this time. And I hope the bases get loaded. I hope he fucking swings that shit and knocks it 500 feet. You get a chance to bury it, because I've seen it happen before. Like, teams come back from big leads, and not just in baseball, in any sport. So you get a chance to put a team away permanently, no matter when it is. Like, you take that opportunity. And I don't think he should have to. I've seen that he had to do an apology about it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is what we're teaching. Like, yo, you got to apologize for being great. I don't like that. Is ridiculous. Yeah, and like the rhetoric that the unwritten rules and things of that nature. There's some of them I can understand. All right, but like, come on, bro. Like, come on.
I was literally going to say the same thing right before you said it. There are some that I understand, right? You're up 10 runs. You don't necessarily have to steal a base on a team, right? You hit a home run. You don't have to stare down the pitcher, and you don't have to do the bat flip and all of that stuff. Now, I happen to think that that's very entertaining. I think that's exactly what baseball needs to get back to being America's pastime, right? This is a sport that used to be called America's pastime, and now, it's going down, second, now third, and close to being fourth in the ratings next to things like MMA and some of the other sports that are out there now. Right. So this is a sport that's losing popularity for these very reasons. People are moving more and more towards this instant gratification world where, things that are boring, they're not exactly in prime position right now. In baseball, to the casual fan, when there's not guys out there having fun, when they're not scoring a lot of runs, when they're not doing the bat flip and getting excited, it can be a little bland to watch. I'll admit that, even as a baseball pseudo purist here, as I am. It can be difficult to watch on a Tuesday afternoon. Two teams that are terrible, sitting there with a 1-0 score after 3 hours of baseball, right? So I can understand some of it where you don't want to be showing people up, you don't want to be doing the bat flips. I can understand that. I don't agree with it, but I can at least understand it. With a player at bat, though, during the at bat, you're supposed to do something that helps the other team stay in the game. I don't understand that even a little bit. I will never be on board with that. I don't even understand it, to be honest with you. It's ridiculous.
Man, I want more of the unwritten rule stuff to happen. Like, I want more, like you said, I want to see a batter just crush a pitch and then just stare him down. Just stare the pitcher down like, yeah, bitch, I just did that to you. What you gonna do about it? I want to see the bat flips. I want to see the trash talking. I want to see the stolen bases and whenever. I want to see it all, man. Like, that will make it more interesting for me. I wish more teams would do that. I want to see more blowouts. Like I like. Remember when the Patriots back was it 2007 when they'll be up by 40 points by halftime and they just come out and hang another 21 on you just because?
Yeah,
like I want to see that. Like why not? Like that turned them into that made the Patriots the most entertaining team to watch because I fucking hated them, but I was not going to miss an opportunity to watch one of their games because I'm hoping that they lose, but they're kicking everybody's ass. And then when they finally got their asses beat in the Super Bowl, that was like the most joyous football moment for me because of everything that led up to that. I want more of that. I want more villains. Villains. You don't have a good movie, you don't have a good like anything without a great villain. Like a great villain is always there, and I want to see more of it. That's just me. I know it sounds very ignorant maybe, but hey, from a casual baseball fan, I want to see more of that personally.
No, it's exciting, man. It is exciting to watch. And you can put it in perspective. Like, what if this was other sports, right? What if this was boxing? What if back in the day, they say, oh, you got a guy on the ropes, you shouldn't swing on him. Right, that's like an exact analogy for what we're talking about here. You got a team on the ropes, the bases are loaded, you're up 7 runs already, they're on the ropes. Okay, you don't swing at this pitch. How about okay, you don't take a swing at the other boxer in the ring because he's on the ropes and you're already up in points. You've already won the first 10 rounds, right? You've dominated this guy, so you're just gonna let him go. No, you finish him, right?
Yep.
You go after him even harder at that moment. You try to put him away. So any other sport where they would talk like this. You'd just be laughed out of the room. Mm-hmm. So the fact that baseball is still clinging to these, bygone era of conduct and, just this gentlemanly conduct that they try to display, I think it's absurd.
And like you said earlier, man, if you don't want it to happen, stop it. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Fucking pitch
play better.
Right?
Exactly.
Play better. Yes,
play better. It's as simple as that. That's the simple solution to all of it.
When something's out of your control, right? Okay, like a guy, flipping a bat or staring you down, stuff like that. Whatever, that is what it is, right? We can have a discussion about that. But when it's something that it's an athletic thing, and don't groove a fastball on 3-0, pitch better, right? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It sounds like some real crybaby shit to me.
Exactly, man. Exactly. But nonetheless,
fun to talk about. I'll give you that.
It is fun. And man, shout out to Fernando, man. You ain't got to apologize for shit, bro. Be great.
Yeah, just be you, man. It's awesome. I love seeing him. He plays with energy. He's awesome. He's an awesome player. It's great.
He's a cool looking dude. He got the dreads. He got the bleach of the dreads at the tip of him, man. He's a good looking kid.
Yeah, he could be the face of baseball, and instead he's taking shit because of what? Not because of something that he did outside, not because of some domestic violence thing, not some bad news that he created, not some rift with his teammates. No, what did he do? He played too well. Are you kidding me? He's too good at baseball. He hit the ball too far. He hurt the other team's feelings. What a joke. What a joke.
Oh, awful. Boy.
So I am proud to now introduce. I'm going to let you lead into this one because it's our last topic that we had queued up for the day, and this one must, at least in some way. I mean, he hasn't been like a long-term player on one of your favorite teams, but he is a guy that's been around for a couple of years now, and I'm of course talking about Earl Thomas and the recent drama coming out of Baltimore, and a very un-Baltimore like. Unceremonious ending to a Baltimore player's time there. So what do you think about Mr. Earl Thomas suddenly being booted from your Baltimore Ravens?
All right, so I'm gonna lay out the whole frame of this thing here for you. I'm gonna start from the very beginning here, Rueter. Okay, so we signed Earl Thomas last year, and we kind of stole him away from the Chiefs. He was originally going to go to the Chiefs. We caught him last minute, offered him more money. He came to Baltimore. All right, cool. And this is a time period where we lost C.J. Mosley, so we needed a different impact player. We cut Weddle, we let Mosley go, so we signed Earl Thomas to come be that guy. All right. Ever since he's been a Baltimore Raven, it never felt like he was a Baltimore Raven. Okay. And what I mean by that, first of all, just talking about his play on the field. I think when people talk about Earl Thomas, they think of the Seattle days, the Legion of Boom days, where he was probably one of the top 10 defensive players in the league at that point. Would you agree?
I would say I'd give him higher praise than top 10. I'd say he was probably top 5. I mean, you're talking one of the most legendary secondaries of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Players that that are going to be the Super Bowl winning defense led by a secondary. I mean, how cool is, think about every other great defense you've ever heard. It's always like the
front seven.
Some monster in the middle, right? That's doing damage there. And this defense was led by a secondary. Richard Sherman at the time, I mean, if there was ever a shutdown corner that just locked down an entire side of the field, mixed with Cam Chancellor and Browner and Earl Thomas at the center of it. Earl Thomas, for my money, was still the best player in that secondary, as good as Richard Sherman was. So
he made it go. He was
a beast.
He was that deep, that cover 3 safety that covered up all the mistakes in the back end. He definitely made that shit go.
So when I think Earl Thomas, and I think when most people think Earl Thomas, they think of him in that Seahawks jersey. So I'm going to agree with you and let you continue.
So, all right. So when people think of Earl Thomas, they think of that version of him. He was not that in Baltimore, like at all. And I get it. He's older. He's a little bit longer in the tooth. He came to us. He's just turning 30 years old. So I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting a little bit of a better player. And first of all, his effort on the field was subpar on a lot of different things. Okay. I remember specifically, this was week 4. It was week 4 against the Cleveland Browns, where Cleveland, it was a back and forth game, and we scored a touchdown to be down by like 7 against Cleveland. And then on Cleveland's next possession, Chubb breaks off a fucking 88-yard run to kind of put it away. And on that play, Earl Thomas, in pursuit of Chubb, just gave up running after him and let him go and score the touchdown. And then after the game in the presser, he said that, oh yeah, I've been in that situation before. I'm not about to blow a hamstring. And at the time, it rubbed me the wrong way, but I was like, you know what? He's a veteran. He knows what he's talking about. I'm going to go ahead and let that rock. You know what I'm saying? Before that game, when we was talking about before we played the Kansas City Chiefs, this motherfucker gets on the camera talking about they brought me in here to stop all those big plays that the Kansas City Chiefs have been doing over the past this past season and this year. So, that's what I'm going to do. And then sure enough, Kansas City comes out and hangs over 500 yards on us. And he was mostly at fault for that dumb shit because he gave up a couple of big plays. All right. Another example, in the fucking playoff game against the Tennessee Titans, he goes and opens his fucking big mouth again. Oh, yeah, it looks like the Patriots players didn't want to go and tackle Derrick Henry. And now you're a fucking walking meme because you're the lead blocker of Derrick Henry. Yeah, you know exactly the play I'm talking about, Rueter. Like, I mentioned that play, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. So this dude, he comes in, he runs his mouth, and he doesn't do nothing. He doesn't really produce on the field. And he had a subpar season. I think 2 interceptions, a couple of sacks here and there, and, made a couple of tackles. But his impact was not really felt on the field for how much money that Baltimore was paying him. They gave him $20 million guaranteed signing bonus, I believe. Excuse me. So then the reports come out in the locker room that he's a terrible locker room presence. Was consistently late for meetings. He didn't understand the playbook a lot of times and lined up out of position, which made a lot of sense for a lot of the big plays that we was giving up earlier in the season. He was consistently getting with like little bickering matches with other players on the defense. Like he got into a whole altercation with one of the biggest players in our defensive line, and Brandon Williams, who was ready to beat his ass. Like the dude got you by over damn near 250 pounds and you want to pick a fight with him? What are you doing? So then it kind of culminated. Everything kind of came together in our training camp, where he got into a dispute with our starting safety, Chuck Clark, and Chuck Clark was heated at him because he had a blown coverage in practice. Instead of being where he's supposed to be, he blitzes and gets beats for a touchdown. Clark chewed his ass out about that, what was going on. Earl Thomas, thinking that he's bigger than everybody else and bigger than the team, kind of just nonchalantly just waved him off like, yeah, whatever the fuck you talking about, get out my face. Chuck Clark was like, well, maybe if you stop being such an asshole and actually come to team practices and actually read your playbook and do the meetings and not be late for meetings, you'll know where to be, which resulted in Earl Thomas feeling offended, feeling some type of way, and going and punching Chuck Clark. Teammates jump in to back Chuck Clark. Earl Thomas is sent home, and he's told to stay home from that point. And it got to the point where the leaders of the Baltimore locker room. These are the players. These are not just the coaches. These are not coaches. These are not the GMs. These are the actual players that's in the trenches with this man. Decide, yo, this dude is toxic as hell. We don't want him